Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the October 21st meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. I have something here from 1 Timothy 6:17 through 19. Teach those who are rich in the world not to be proud of and not to trust in their money, which is so unreliable. Their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasures as a good foundation for the future so they may experience true life. And I have the dog this morning. We have a little 2-year-old, probably like a Shih Tzu, very sweet, very loving, would make somebody a great, great pet. So come down to the dog kennel, or you could check us out on Facebook if you don't like the little dogs like I do. I actually like big dogs too. I think she wants to go home with you. So check us out on Facebook, come down and make sure you adopt and not shop. Thank you. Come on, little girl. Madam Clerk?
Under Resolutions Number 1, Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Travel.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Under the airport, enter into renewal insurance coverage with Zito Insurance Agency, effective, it should be November 4, 2015 through November 4, 2016, amount of $4,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cordez?
Good morning, Madam Commissioner. Thank you. I do have a few personnel issues, potential hires over at the collection center. If we have time, I'd like to just have our conversations about our position with regard to the negotiations that are soon to begin with United Steelworkers of America concerning several departments in the county, potential sale and purchase of real estate. And I think that's it. So those topics are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussions. So it asks at the conclusion of a regular board meeting, go into executive session and discuss those issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the meeting of the minutes of October 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Enter into agreement with
Skoda?
Skoda Minotti and Company, CPA, in the amount of $3,000 upfront cost to enable and access software, and then billed $17 per form plus out-of-pocket expense for ACA compliance.
So moved.
You want to talk about this
Yes,
a
please.
bit? As you know, under the ACA Act, a lot of things were deferred over the first few years that were anticipated to need to be paid for and to get in line with the regulations. 16 is going to be a big year with ACA, with the reporting requirements for self-insured plans. The 1095 Bs and Cs need to be done. We need outside assistance to help us prepare for the requirements that are new to us in 16. And this firm, it's a Northeast Ohio firm. We couldn't find anybody in Lorain County that does this kind of work. And they're going to be in here, Jerry, next week?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday to put on a session, not only for the county and start doing the work for the county, but those political subdivisions that are doing their own payroll reporting. They have a requirement under ACA to do the very same things we do. We're much larger, but that doesn't alleviate the burden onto those other folks. The only ones that really won't have that burden is probably the fully insured groups. I think that they may be able to get the healthcare providers to do that, but they need to check on that. So we're opening this up to everybody in the county to come to this session and have an interactive process. In addition, we're going to have our legal counsel that works on our healthcare issues from Benish come in and just give a brief update of the ACA itself, not just this reporting requirement. So any of the groups out there are welcome to come in and take advantage of that free information here in the county admin building.
How are we getting the word out to people to let them know it's available to them?
Jerry worked with Julie and they've sent out a general correspondence, I think, to everybody in the county.
We did it to our participants.
We-
If you want us to notify everybody, we can still do that.
Well, I think we probably, I'll talk to Julie, I think we should just let anybody who wants to come, don't you? There's probably a few activities out there that are not really paying attention to this requirement. We're a little late in getting it done ourselves. Trying to find somebody that could do it was very challenging since our payroll folks with ADP weren't in position to be able to provide that service to us, and I'm assuming that lots of other entities out there are struggling with this too. I will tell you that ACA is going to be very costly to us next year. We have to pay into the health pool risk fund. It's going to be several hundreds of thousands of dollars that have to come out of our claims pool to risk insure the markets, the open markets. Every self-insured group has to do that. And there's been structural changes on the ACA which requires additional benefits that we weren't paying for before that, and while sounding really nice, somebody's got to pay for them. And so it's put a lot of load onto the plan in addition to the earlier requirement that we're now covering whether they have access to health care or not. We're covering family members until they're 26 years old. All of those things sound really great until you have to pay the bill, and the bill's getting really, really large. So we'll be working on that, but this is the first step towards compliance.
I made a motion, I don't know if I got a second or not.
Yes, you
Did
did.
I? Okay.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Receive and journalize a ditch petition to clear and improve drainage from 1,500 feet north of State Route 18 along Gore Orphanage Rd, Brighton Township. Viewing will take place on Tuesday, November 17th at 10. Publication will be in the Chronicle on November 3rd and 10th. Notification will be October 27th, and hearing will be held Tuesday, December 1st at 9:30, and this is recommended through the Stormwater District. SWAC.
This is a voluntary petition, even though you still have to go through all your motions. This is a grant funded process that we couldn't get all the easements for. So our strategy through Stormwater District and also supported by the Stormwater Advisory Committee is just do these by petition so that we can get this work done. And you're going to see several of these coming along now. I think the position that we've adopted is going to get a lot more work done in a lot less time. As you know, you get some one resistant landowner along a ditch, and 42 other people can sign, and you can't clean around them, and you can't go across their property. So the petition process, once it's approved, automatically grants the ability to go in and clean the ditch, even if there's an objection from an adjacent property owner. I would hope that we try to get voluntary compliance first, but if that's that consideration isn't accomplished, then we need to go in there and do the petition process and clean these ditches and stop this flooding.
Well, we had gone out and looked at this ditch a year or two ago, but maybe longer than that.
A couple of years ago, you're right.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
3? Wow, time
So-
flies when you're having
So
fun.
let's go see if the ditch has changed at all.
Yeah.
It probably hasn't,
send
but you
Matt.
still
He
have the
hasn't been there yet.
requirement
Yeah, right.
to do it.
Pardon me?
We'll send Matt.
It probably hasn't changed much, but you still have the requirement to go out and view it, even
Right.
though it's a voluntary petition.
Yeah, it's all about being a good neighbor. A lot of folks don't realize it just takes one person to create flooding problems and other issues for other people.
It's, stormwater's getting a lot of attention right now. So there's a lot of work going on, and we met with Columbia Township the other day. We were talking about Northeast Ohio Regional and the stormwater fees there, and how we're gonna handle that. So it's only gonna get larger, not smaller.
So is the cost of this going to be paid from the
It's already
SWAC?
funded. It's already a funded project.
Okay.
We just need to get we weren't able to get the easements from a property owner, so we went to petition process.
I agreed to do this on the 17th, and I had already signed up. Speaking of ACA, on our last thing, they are having a webinar on the 17th. So I was hoping either you or Julie or somebody may want to sit in on that webinar just
I
to
really
see.
wanted to go to the ditch with you.
Did you?
No.
Oh. Well, you could stay back and watch the
I got it.
webinar.
I got a good that one,
Yeah, need to
didn't
get
you?
a
Yeah.
life, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I'll-
signed up for it, for
I'll
the
do the
webinar.
webinar.
Okay, good. All right, thanks. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Community Development, award contract to Don Mold's Plantation, North Ridgeville, in the amount of $78,300, which includes a $5,000 contingency for the ADA walkway installation project. 2 bids received, this being the most responsive. Issue notice to proceed on or before October 21st and complete on or before December 31st. Authorize administrator to notify the auditor to release retainage at completion of project, and CDBG FY14 grants will provide $48,000. Remaining balance will be provided by the City of North Ridgeville.
Did you have something on this too? Or are you just looking at it closely?
I was actually reading the actual report for the healthcare.
Oh.
Sorry. You know, I gotta like multitask.
Yes, I guess so.
Sorry.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Award contract to the handyman Greenwich in the amount of $3,630, which includes a contingency for any unforeseen change orders to Sharing Lang at Wellington to receive grant assistance for water closet, outlets, CGFIs, laundry box, and plumbing relocation for ADA and dryer vent replacement to be paid from the CHIP Program Year 14 home repair account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Job and Family, authorized maintenance and support services agreement with CGI Technologies and Solutions, Inc. for support of applications, software, and software updates of document imaging department in the amount of $122,173, effective January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016, and authorized director to execute and amend for program changes and increase on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Authorized purchase service agreement, DR Silink Company, Inc., DBA Dave Snow Plowing for snow plowing salting services for fiscal year 16 in the amount of $19,500, effective November 1st, 2015 through April 30, 2016, and authorized director to execute amend for program changes and increase on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors' approval as to form.
This was added on later, right? Is this 19.5 up to 19.5?
Yes.
Do you know? Okay. As needed. Okay.
Let's hope he doesn't have to plow in April of
Yeah.
2016.
You know,
Well, you never know.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. You know, I did talk to Job and Family Services on this. There were other quotes that were received. They usually do a pretty thorough job out there. You know, the questions I asked received satisfactory answers. Some of the quotes had it, you know, how deep the snow was, and
Right,
that
per
was the
inch.
cost. And I think that's kind of silly.
A lot of companies do that, Jim.
Well, we're supposed to go out there with a measuring stick in the morning and figure out what they're billing us, so it's X amount of snow. I think a flat rate is usually the way to go. We have more trucks this year, so maybe we'll be able to help them out with getting some of the plowing done over there to take some of the cost off Job and Family Services. Last year, we were a little bit shy on trucks, but we've been doing a little bit better. But I thank Mary Lou and her folks for doing this. technically as the building owner, we should be providing these services.
No, she's helped us out since,
A lot.
yeah, 6, 7 years on this, since we really got into a bind. Okay.
So moved?
Second.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
All right.
Under sanitary, approve and enter in general engineering services agreement with K. McCartney and Associates, Inc., Mansfield, in amount not to exceed $250,000 as part of the 24-month task order to be paid from the sanitary engineer department account.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
All right.
Under the recorder, authorize Lorain County Auditor to continue special fund per Ohio Revised Code Section 317.321 for fees imposed by Lorain County Recorder for the purpose of supplementing the equipment needs of the county recorder, effective January 1st, 2016, expiring December 31st, 2016, the amount of $4 per recorder document.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
All right.
Mr. Cortez?
I have no additional comments this morning, thank you.
Mr. Ennis?
Oh, excuse me,
Oh.
before I get
Changed
yelled at,
mine.
sorry.
Already
Let me
did that.
rescind that. I actually have something I need from the floor.
Oh.
We need to get our insurance premium paid for the Solid Waste Hazardous Collection Center. I had this on my desk and didn't get it to the agenda. The premium was negotiated for $665 less this year, but the renewal's due on the 27th. I'll pass this down for consideration. Jonette Jackson did a really good job in trying to wrestle down the cost a bit. Because of the unique work we do there and what we handle there, it requires a separate insurance policy not covered by COSA, and this comes out of our solid waste funds.
Because of the hazardous material issue, is that why?
Correct, and we do store, even though we container ship them out of there on a regular basis, we do store quite a bit of hazardous materials, and so it requires a supplemental policy, much like the one you voted on for the airport. Now, I should have had the airport and that one together, but somehow the paperclip stuck it to something else. My apologies.
Looks like Jim signed it already. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
All right.
Anything else?
Are you
Okay,
sure?
Mr.
Are you
Ennis.
sure?
Thank you, Madam Clerk, I yield.
Mr. Ennis.
I have one matter pending litigation and one real estate sale of property that I would like to discuss with commissioners in executive session.
Hopefully it's good news.
Commissioners report.
Last Wednesday, Commissioner Kalo and I were on a conference call with the CCAO, Metropolitan and Regional Affairs, and they talked about a few things that were pretty interesting. Water quality, and they were talking about sewer project grants that may be becoming available up to like $100 million, which will be distributed like issue 2 money, and boy, would that be a nice help to us in the county and all over the county. They also talked about safety grants and voting equipment, and one thing that really sparked an interest in me was the jail costs. So I'm going to be working with Lisa Hobart and the jail administrator to get a really accurate figure on what those costs are per inmate, because we do charge that back to municipalities. So we haven't addressed that since 2001, and the costs have gone up. So
Well, at the very least, we should raise the fee to what it's costing the general fund to provide that service.
Right.
My understanding from my conversation with you that we're at about 80.
well, we're at 82, but that's not including utilities and maybe other global costs that the jail wouldn't see when they're figuring out a per diem.
And we're charging 75 right now.
We're charging 75, yeah. So, I mean, it's not a huge difference right now, but I think when we actually figure in everything, it's going to be closer to 90 to 95, maybe 100, I don't know. So,
I don't see Lisa here, so hopefully she'll have those numbers and we can work on that next week.
yeah.
We don't have a lot, just so before the public gets in an uproar, we don't have a lot of folks staying at the jail that are charged under the ordinances where we pay. Most of the municipalities that send people to our jail, they've charged under municipal ordinance, because under municipal ordinances, they get to keep the fees and fines that are charged to pay for their courts. Some time ago, they really moved into that area. I can't blame them, quite frankly. But it does help, it does hurt us at the jail.
I
Right.
mean, charge you under state.
Well, they charge under municipal laws, they don't charge under state.
When
If
they
they
charge
charge under
state, then it
state, we
costs
get the
us.
fines and fees.
Right.
But then we also get the bills.
We get the bills, yeah.
Right, we get the bills.
Correct.
He told me yesterday that 90% of the inmates are charged as the state charges.
On the state charges?
Yeah,
I think I
so,
misstated that.
You
I
did,
got
that's
it
why I
backwards.
tried to
Sorry.
correct you, but
Sorry,
you still
I got
didn't
it
listen to me.
backwards. Well, that's not unusual.
Not out of the ordinary.
The-
Keep trying
the,
to get him out of trouble. He
Yeah, I
just
got
won't
my
let me
tongue a
help.
little tied there. But we actually were bringing in quite a bit of money 10 years ago from that. And that flopped over and put a lot of cost onto us.
Well, not as much as Lucas County has with the
What is it,
city
like
of
25
Toledo.
million?
25
$25
million.
million, yeah.
Yeah.
Pete Gerg's been screaming about that for 2 years. Well,
Yeah.
you talked to Pete the other day when we were on the conference
Right.
call.
But
Yeah.
that's been going on for a decade, right, up
No,
there?
a couple of years they changed that. The new
they've
mayor,
taken
Mike
it to the
Bell,
Supreme Court,
right,
so.
Mike Bell, who deceased now, but when he became the mayor, he started telling the police department to put everything under state ordinances, so they didn't have to pick up the bill.
Well, the cities are struggling too. You remember,
Yeah, I know.
it was only, what, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, we forgave almost $500,000 in fees to
Mhm.
some of the municipalities out here that were owed to the jail because they couldn't pay them.
Right, I know.
There needs to be a better way of figuring this out because the jail is a very expensive operation. We do not get any assistance from the state to operate the jail when it's charged under state ordinances. It would be nice.
Wish in one hand.
Yeah. The other thing, I just want to let everybody know that the JVS is going to be hosting a Dine to Donate at Ziggy's in Amherst on November the 3rd. Anybody wishing to participate simply has to dine in at Ziggy's on November 3rd between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. You let the staff know that you're there to support the JVS PTA, and they will donate 15% of that night's profits to the PTA over at JVS. And carry-out orders are also included in this fundraiser. And on that day, it's a Tuesday, they will have a couple of specials, a $5 one-item pizza, dine-in only, and stuffed peppers for $5.99, and at lunch, $8.99. So if you don't know where Ziggy's is in Amherst, I think everybody does, it's at 193 Park Avenue. And today at 3:30, actually, there is a conference call with the White House Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, and they're going to be discussing criminal justice reform. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I signed up for that. So hopefully we'll be out of executive session time for me to
What time is that,
participate. It's
Commissioner?
at 3:30 this afternoon.
Oh, I think we'll be done.
I don't
by
know.
then.
Sometimes you know.
It depends how long it takes that
talking.
pizza to get here, you know that.
End of my report.
Okay, yeah. As Commissioner Kokoski said, Metropolitan Affairs Committee, again, going over issues affecting all of the large counties. It's nice we get together monthly on that, because when we're together as a full board, discussions, slant towards the smaller counties, because there's more of them than there are the large ones. Also, yeah, got opportunity to drop in the other day on discussion with Columbia Township trustees, and discussion with the master planning and sewers going forward. So, I mean, that was nice discussion there. And
You can see that the relationship building is going very, very well in some of these communities. I'm really excited about the work the commissioners have allowed us to do with the trustees in Columbia Township and the things that we've been able to fund with them from our special funds that are going to improve their community. They're bursting at the seams there. We just got a request this week from another landowner about sewers that are looking at 100 to 200 additional homes on their property. And we were already working with some landowners that it appears that they're probably going to put in 400 or 500 homes on those parcels. That's in addition to the huge projects we already have underway. And then there's another parcel north in the northwest quadrant that used to be an old golf course that we don't have an idea yet how they're going to parcel it out with the density. You could theoretically, over the next 5 years, see a few thousand homes in Columbia Township going in. And we're trying to prepare that community with the land use planning that you're working with the township trustees on to update their land use, their zoning, and of course the big gorilla is getting sewers out there to help move along that build out. So it was a great meeting.
it was a great meeting, yes. It's spent some time there. It's nice to see we're working with them. Also, by the way, those Captain Drozdowski, Lorain County Sheriff's Office, condolences him and his family. His father passed away.
I sent him a card through interoffice this morning.
Did you? I stopped by the Journal Thursday. And also, as Commissioner Kokoski stated in the Metropolitan Affairs meeting, there is legislation introduced by a Democrat that would allow up to $100 million in grant funding for sewers, but it's got to go through the whole process looking for Republican majority support to take it forward. It would be, again, like the public works dollars towards doing water quality issues. So, I
Is
mean,
there
I
something
hope
we
that
need to do to
sees
weigh
something
in on
next year.
that?
Huh?
Something we need to do to weigh in
Yeah,
on
I
that?
think it's just coming out of committee at this point, Commissioner. Lundy, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it, but there is, trying to bring it up, someone from Lucas County has introduced it to be similar to the issue $2.
Well, you know, sewer, system with sewer projects dried up so many years ago.
Right.
And it really put a strain on communities. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of grant money for sewer projects, and you very seldom see any kind of assistance with those projects to the local communities. It would really be nice to have access to some leverage dollars.
Right, so we'll see what comes out. I mean, you've got all through next year. I doubt anything will get done this year, but it's nice that there's somebody thinking about it, especially when they've had the algal issues. And, yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of that issue around the state, not just up north, but other water quality issues. And everybody needs sewers nowadays, expanding world, so.
There was
And the-
another one in Ohio River in Cincinnati, another algae bloom.
Is there? Okay,
Yeah,
I
there
didn't
was
see
in the
that.
paper the other day.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Well, you know, the reality is the soils in Lorain County specifically are very poor for on-site systems. There's very few areas in Lorain County that you would call exceptionally suitable for on-site systems. So it's usually a make-do because there's been no sewers. And right now, the health department doesn't approve on-site unless than an R3. And that's a pretty big piece of parcel of land you need to be able to build on if you're going to put an on-site system. And of course, the EPA regulates the commercial.
Well, just like Columbia Township, they've got that one area, 26 homes, 24 have basically systems that are
Failing? Are they
Yeah.
failing?
or failing or failed.
Well, and you know, over in while Walco's looking at it, we're trying to work with them. The village of South Amherst is a
Right.
very old village, and there's a massive amount of septic failure in that village. But it's the way the village is built. It's really a hot area to sewer. And we looked at that back when the Quarries project was a big thing, and just getting a sewer out there, we
A lot of
estimated.
dynamite.
Well, it's a deep build, there's a lot of sandstone.
Yeah, it's
And it was a
dynamite.
$25 to $26 million just to get the trunks all the way out there.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the road sewers.
Right.
It was just a huge interceptor. So it's expensive.
All right, end of my report.
Just wanted to commend the Neighborhood Watch, the Elyria Block Watch Group. In Elyria, they've been just doing a great job, really helping to make the neighborhoods a lot safer. And if you live in a community where you think about setting up a block watch or whatever, they're a good source for some guidance on how best to do that. They've been very effective. Had a chance to attend the Lorain County Township Association meeting in Brighton Township, and folks there were talking about the Shred Day coming up on November 7th, also about the new shred truck that we're going to be putting into play here shortly, the upcoming stormwater management meeting that we're planning to have early next year. And also had the opportunity to be interviewed by a student from Midview, Brandon Atkinson, who I thought did a really nice job. Every once in a while we get these calls from students wanting to do an interview with the public officials, so enjoyed that. I had the opportunity to make a couple business visits. Also, Lorain County Explorer is in conversation with Visit Lorain County. I'm trying to work out a partnership there so that we can be cross-promoting events and activities that are going on in the county between the Visitors Bureau and then also between this new application, Lorain County Explorer. And also had the opportunity to speak to the local chapter, the National Federation of the Blind. They were very interested in what all is taking place in the transit front and some of the ongoing community meetings that are taking place about that, and really enjoyed the opportunity to speak to that group. So that concludes my report.
Next Tuesday at 9:30, we'll have a Stormwater Management District meeting, and at 11 o'clock will be our investment advisory. Board correspondence?
Move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anybody wishing to address the board this morning? Seeing none, I move we go into executive session as outlined by the administrator and assistant county prosecutor.
Second.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Guys, taking notes.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.